So let's say that your child's IEP calls for a behavior intervention plan. And part of that plan may not call for restraint. You don't know anything about your child being restrained. You didn't sign off on any aspect of the plan, including restraint. But then you find out, you get the phone call, or for whatever reason you found out that your child is being restrained. It could be that she or he came home with a bruise,
right,
or a self-report from the child. What do you do when your child's being restrained? And any parent who finds that out is going to be alarmed, and which is why it's so perfect for the crisis corner.
It is. It is such a scary thing, and this is such a topic that is, a philosophical discussion that people need to have, because this is another area where you need to check your state law on it, because many states do have in the books very specific protocols about restraint and seclusion. Restraint and seclusion often go hand in hand, because a kid being put into, a room by themselves all day, which does unfortunately happen. For some kids, I would argue for all kids that's inappropriate, but for some kids it's dangerous as well as being inappropriate. And so this issue is a hot issue. There's a lot of talk about whether there's ever going to be federal legislation on this, because of the fact that kids have literally died in these circumstances, kids with disabilities, and it's a very scary issue. There are states that do have protections for students, and that there's a protocol in place. There are many people who would argue that there is no place even for having that kind of intervention in a behavior plan, even if the parent did agree to it. This is a very controversial subject.
Right.
But the bottom line is, what I would say is, backing up on the big picture item of your child and simplifying the issue, is this. If your child's being restrained, there's something going on in school that's not appropriate. Something is happening where your child is now in a position where the adults have to physically restrain this child. Something's going on. It's time for intervention of some sort. And what I would say is, my immediate response would be to ask for an emergency IEP meeting.
Absolutely.
An emergency individualized education program meeting, which you have a right to request as a parent. And you would say, I'm willing to waive my 5-day notice, or however many days notice that you're typically given in writing by your school district, to get together right away to talk about this, because obviously something's going wrong.
You've got to get to the bottom of the problem, decide as a team what's causing the child to be restrained, and perhaps there's a more appropriate behavior intervention plan to replace the restraint.